Are you ready? Because we're going 5 pounds down every 4 weeks in 2022, and today I've got a sweaty strength workout for us. Grab your dumbbells and let's go! All right, beautiful bees, let's get moving and grooving. Have your dumbbells completely out of the way and let's get started with some arm circles with high knees. You guys, welcome to the workout. I'm Paula B. I'm your best middle-aged fitness friend, and around here, we are all about making peace with your menopausal body by finding a healthy weight and moving in ways that feel like self-love. And do you know what feels like self-love? Yes, it's losing weight with the 5-0 method, where every day we do 5 things that make you say, oh, I had no idea it could be this easy and fun to lose weight. Every single day, we eat the right number of calories, which is not necessarily less than you were eating before. Every single day, we drink the right amount of water, which is half your body weight in pounds, in ounces of water. Every single day, we get the right amount of sleep by going to bed at the same time every night, getting up at the same time every morning, doing some arm crossers with booty kickers. No, and not worrying about how much in between was actual sleep. My friends, every single day we exercise moderately, which is not necessarily more than you were doing before. And the best part of all, every single day we manage our minds by finding our thoughts and deciding if they're helpful. And today I have what I hope is going to be a helpful thought for you. And I guarantee, like so many of my helpful thoughts, your initial reaction might be skepticism, and that's completely okay. My thought for you today is, I'm really good at this. Because you know what? You are. And here's my favorite thing. Let's go ahead and do some welcome to my home. Let's welcome to my home. You are definitely going to be good at this today. Let me tell you something. Today's weights workout, I have incredibly generous intervals. And let this gentle warm up where we're just kind of moving at a really easy peasy pace, let that be your guide for the day. And if necessary, make sure that you have some lighter weights. With very generous intervals, it means that you might reach the point of fatigue just because we're continuing to do the same thing for relatively long. I've got the handy dandy gym boss here, so for intervals of 1.5 minutes. I know, right? It's nuts, but it's a no repeat workout. So if you live through each interval, it's the last time you have to do that particular exercise today. We're gonna get started with some deadlifts with a wide press up at the top. Everything that we're doing today is very complex, so they're not very dense intervals. Let's go ahead and get going. Go ahead and grab your, hi baby, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up. Go ahead and grab your dumbbells and let's get started with these deadlifts. So pull your core in, your back is nice and straight, push your booty back, pull your booty forward, and then raise those hands over your head nice and wide. Let me actually show you that one from the front. So we're coming down in a deadlift and then coming up, and then your hands come up and overhead nice and wide. Palms facing forward until palms are facing your body. Doing that deadlift, up and overhead. Really thinking about having your core pulled in, your hips driving this motion, pushing your hips back, pulling your hips forward. It's almost like a biceps curl here in the middle, but also really not because your elbows are so wide. I'm going to tell you right now that coming up next, we've got plenty of time on this, but it gives you something else to think about. We're going to be doing a curtsy lunge front punch. And I actually, when I wrote it down, I didn't even call it a curtsy lunge because I'm not going to be going down that far. It's more like a curtsy step back with a front punch. What we're doing today is lots of exercises that are using every part of your body, really letting you take the time and not be doing so much work in one concentrated area. You know, we're not doing 1.5 minutes of, well, okay, at some point later we are doing some biceps curls, but it's not a straight up 1.5 minutes of just squats or just curls. Okay, so here we go with a curtsy front punch. I'm gonna step a little bit closer so that I've got some space for this. As we come over into a curtsy, just a step back, we're gonna punch forward. Finding a place that feels really comfortable for you. I happen to know that for me, I like to go as far wide as I can, but not really as far down as I can. So finding the exact right place for you where you can get your front punch, you can get that curtsy step back, you've got your core pulled in, you're thinking our helpful thought of I'm really good at this. My friends, here's the thing about almost all of my helpful thoughts, they're I'm gonna call them open-ended. The reason I love this particular one, by the way, when it beeps again, we're gonna do a high knee side raise. Whichever knee comes up, the other side arm is going out to the side. When I vividly remember the first time that I heard this thought. I was running, and I was in the middle of running particularly what ended up being one of my very best races ever. And I was running up a hill, and I don't generally give myself a lot of compliments when I'm running, especially not necessarily up a hill, except for the fact that I am a much better climber than descender. I actually climb faster than I descend most of the time. But anyways, I was running up this hill. So here we go with a high knee side raise. Whichever knee comes up, the opposite side is raising. That one took me a long time to figure out what I was doing with my body. And I will tell you that that really is the point of today's workout. Core is pulled in nice and tight. We're thinking about good form. We are also really challenging our brain with these very complex exercises. Doing one thing in one plane, moving forward in front of you with your knee, and then doing something else with another part of your body in another plane, moving out to the side with your arm, really requires a lot of brain activity. So anyways, I was in the middle of this race, and I was climbing this hill, and I heard this thought in my head, just clear as day. I'm really good at this. And I remember being like, what? It was met with instant skepticism. And yet I had evidence literally right in front of me that I was doing well. I was passing people on this hill. By the way, when it beeps again, we're going to be doing swinging knees to elbows. That's the one where our dumbbell rests on our shoulders with our elbows pointed forward. We bring up one knee towards its opposite elbow and then to the same elbow, and then we put that foot down. So when I heard this thought, I'm really good at this, I had some skepticism, but I also realized, even in the moment, and this was long before I started actually doing any kind of mindset work about anything ever. That's not entirely true. I did some unintentional mindset work about running. Here we go with those swinging knees to elbows. So you're going to bring up your knee to your opposite elbow, to your same elbow, and then down. And we're trying really hard to stand up straight and tall. I don't care if you actually touch your knees to your elbows. It's much more about standing up and bringing that leg up as high as possible rather than curling down into it. Also, I'm going to take this at a slightly slower pace. It's starting to feel like cardio around here, and today is not cardio, it's all strength all the time, and your heart rate's going to come up anyways. So I was thinking that thought, I'm really good at this. And then I had some skepticism, and then I was like, you know what? This thought feels really good. Like, I don't care if it's true. It feels amazing to think this. It feels amazing at even the possibility of being good at something, because that was not something that I used to tell myself, like pretty much ever. By the way, when it beeps again, we're doing split stance flies. I am going to intentionally step my left foot forward so that I can remember which thing that I've done, because even though we are not repeating any exercises, we are going to do a split stance a little bit later, and so we want to make sure that we even things out. So I'm going to step forward with my left foot for our first split stance exercise. And so knowing that it felt really good, I repeated it to myself numerous times during that race about different things. And this is what I want you to know about this thought. I'm really good at this. I'm going to step my left foot forward. I'm really thinking about this. Left foot forward. Right foot is back. You're slightly bent forward. Core is pulled in nice and tight. Your hands are right here about your waist, and then we're just going to fly them open. As you are flying them open, you're thinking about a couple of things. Number one, you're thinking about your balance. You're thinking about where your body is balanced between your feet here. I have my toe on the ground in the back rather than my entire foot, partly because of my personal just flexibility, and partly because that makes my balance a little bit tougher to do. I am at a point in my fitness where I like to challenge my balance a little bit sometimes, even though this is a lot of bit for a lot of time. But this feels right to me. If you'd rather have your foot down or can't balance with this or need to find a slightly different stance, you help yourself, my friend. You doing you is what we do around here, and that way you can be really good at it. When it beeps again, by the way, We're doing a squat with a front kick, back kick. Yes, a little bit more balance. In fact, we've got a fair bit of balance today. That's one of my favorite things about complex exercises. It really gives us the opportunity to do different things and be balanced in different ways. So the thing about I'm really good at this, that word this could be anything. Anything. And that's why I want you to use this for good and not for evil, not for skepticism. Here we go with a squat with a front kick, back kick. So we're just coming down in a squat, and then we're gonna do a front kick and a back kick. And then plant that foot exactly where you're going to do another squat. So about hip width apart, and then find your balance. Front kick, back kick. If you would prefer, first of all, you don't ever have to do a squat. You could continue doing kicks this entire time, and if you would rather just do taps, front tap, back tap, totally fine. I'm actually gonna do that on the other side too, just so I can even it out. Squat down, and then front something, back something. The point is that we are shifting our balance. Do you feel it every time? What this is a proprioception exercise where we're thinking about where our balance is. When we have both feet on the ground, we're balanced between our feet, and then we're squatting. And then when we pick up one foot and we're balanced on that one leg, we've shifted our balance over to that side. You are so good at this. This might be having the dumbbells in your hands. It might be the fact that you press play today. It might be this exact exercise. It might be anything. Your brain doesn't entirely care what this is. It's why I absolutely love open-ended, helpful sentences like this one, helpful thoughts like this one. I'm really good at this. Feels amazing. Let's go ahead and do that split stance on the other side. For me, that means right foot forward, left foot back. And this time, we really are leaning forward a little bit more because we're gonna do a row it on up, and then triceps kick back towards your hip, back up towards your armpit, and then rest it back down. I say resting. There's almost nothing resting about being in a split stance, for reals. I know you can feel this work in your legs, in your glutes, in your core. As you have your core pulled in, your back is nice and straight, of course. And then, then you've got the row where you're actually pulling up with the middle of your back, using those big latissimus dorsi, squeezing from the middle of your shoulder blades. Okay, when it beeps again, we're gonna do a side kick curls. Okay, so this is what I promised you. We are actually, yes indeed, gonna do a minute and a half of curls, but I really want you to take it at a nice, gentle pace. It's why we're doing side kicks. For me personally, side kicks take a little bit longer to kind of get into and get out of. So we're doing balance work, of course. And when I say side kick, I mean that you are raising your leg out to the side. You are not necessarily kicking. Again, this isn't cardio today. We're not really trying to move quickly. We're moving with precision. We're thinking about all parts of our body, moving together and separately and the same and different and in the same ways and in different ways, so that we are getting a really thorough workout. Okay, so here's our side kick curls. Go ahead and put those elbows right into your waist, like really squeeze them on in. As we're doing a curl, we are raising one leg out to the side. Feel your balance, feel my balance, tipping over just slightly as you have your center of balance on one foot rather than both feet. Excellent job. By having your elbows locked into your waist, just so you know, that is the way to quote unquote isolate your biceps. I always have to say it with air quotes, and I really feel like I need to tell you this every single time. There's basically no way to isolate any muscle in your body. Your muscles are always working together. But here's the way to make sure that you're actually getting most of the work in your biceps as opposed to some other part of your arm or your shoulder. When you have your elbows planted in place, it does help your biceps be the ones who are the prime movers. When your elbows are free and your arms are, moving wildly about, your back could be doing a lot more of the work. Your shoulders could be doing a lot more of the work. Not necessarily a bad thing, But if you want biceps work, you gotta find your biceps. Okay, when it beeps again, we're gonna be doing Sumowise, meaning the letter Y, not just that we are wise. I mean, you're really good at this, but also it's the letter Y. So we're gonna have our feet nice and wide, almost uncomfortably wide. I'm gonna finish it off on this side. Almost uncomfortably wide. You're gonna have your toes pointed out. Hips go back just a tiny bit as we come down into a sumo. Palms facing your body straight down in front of you. As you come up, we're gonna do the top of that letter Y. So then down into a sumo, trying to keep your head up and chest up, and then palms facing out as you are in the top of that letter Y. The top of the letter Y is coming from the middle of your back, really squeezing from those shoulder blades as we do. You could get your hands up and over by leaning back a little bit through momentum, using your lower back. We're not using your lower back. Your core is pulled in nice and tight. This is coming from your upper shoulders and your upper and middle back. If you feel it in your lower back, let's go ahead and get you some lighter weights. You are absolutely 100% getting all the benefit of this workout with whatever weights you have, as long as they are not too heavy and you are injuring yourself. That, my friends, is where we go wrong with workouts, is when we're trying to do too much. When it beeps again. Okay, we're doing something I call butterfly side kicks. Sometimes I know what my brain is doing, and sometimes you just kind of got to use your imagination and say, okay, Paula, I hear you. Here's what we're gonna do. We're doing basically a delt raise on one side. You're gonna start with your palms or your knuckles facing each other. One hand or one elbow is gonna go up while the other hand extends out to the side. And then they're gonna come back to the middle, and then we're gonna do that exact same thing on the other side. Technically speaking, this is almost like making half of the letter X one way, and then half of the letter X the other way, like making one slash and then the other slash. To me, that hand and foot right out to one side there almost looks like the bottom of a butterfly wing, and then the top of this delt raise looks like the other butterfly wing, the top butterfly wing. This is my imagination at work. This is me naming complex exercises weird things because I love butterflies, and I couldn't really come up with any other way to describe this exercise. When it beeps again. My friends, we are doing triangles. Gonna stand with our feet almost uncomfortably wide again. One hand is gonna go up overhead facing the ceiling. The other hand is gonna roll down the side of your leg. As you are rolling down the side of your leg, you're gonna go ahead and let that hip jut out, because it is a full hip exercise. Oftentimes when we're bending over to the side, I have you really isolate your abs and obliques. Oh my gosh, speaking of abs and obliques, are you feeling it with this cross body exercise as we're extending one way? I totally felt that. Okay, so feet almost uncomfortably wide. One hand goes up overhead while the other hand rolls down the side, and then therefore almost the front of your leg. As we come back up, take a nice breath. Make sure that you are moving at a pace, first of all, that you can sustain for this whole minute and a half, which is why I did a lot of single-sided exercises, my friends. Not too much burn on any one exercise, but now that we're kind of low on the list, feeling the overall burn as promised. Sweaty work today, sweaty sculpting strength work that is so good for weight loss, and you are really good at this. The reason we love to lift weights for weight loss, so many good reasons. Number one, honestly, is just for me the mental benefits. I love feeling strong. I love sometimes moving slowly, sinking in, really feeling my brain-body connection, feeling my muscles at work, feeling my body at work feels really good. I know that oftentimes we think of it has to be super sweaty in order to lose weight, but my friends, muscles are more metabolically active than any other kind of tissue in your body, which means as we build muscles, as we get stronger, we are burning more calories every minute of every day. Coming up next, coming up right now, we're doing a step back press up. So you're going to step back, and as you do, you're going to press up. This is a press up where your palm is going to face forward. Rather than that wide press up that we did with the very first exercise, this one is a narrow press up. Palms facing each other here, and then palm facing out. Your arm rotates as it goes up overhead, and I'm really finding where exactly I want to step back to. I always get really eager to step back, like a huge step back, and then I always lose my balance from that. So I'm finding the exact right spot for me to step back, find my balance, get the work, figure out where my body is in space and time. It's called proprioception. And it is so good for your aging brain. I say that so nicely. Don't you love that word, aging? Okay, except that it actually is what's going on with us, so we might as well talk about it. As your brain and my brain gets older, ages, it loses its efficiency. I mean, our bodies are losing efficiency. So we need to practice things in a nice controlled way that keeps us strong and balanced. You guys, when it beeps again, we are done. We are not quite finished, and our finisher is just a built-in finisher. I just have one more exercise for us. Do you know what it is? Of course you know what it is. We're doing Drinky Birds. It's a little bit tougher than everything else. I'm gonna start on my left leg here. We're going to really think about that leg flying up behind you being the thing that moves this train. As that leg flies up behind you, think about pointing those 5 toes toward the ground. Think about that hip staying level with the other hip. You are raising your leg, and the raising of your leg is what lowers your torso. If your leg isn't up, your torso isn't down. Your glute muscle, that big old beautiful booty muscle right there in the middle, is the thing that's moving both your leg and your torso. If you find yourself leaning over, my friends, you are not letting your glutes do this work. Glutes drive the train. In fact, they drive the train for just about everything. So when we are thinking about using our glutes to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze and pull that leg up behind us, your torso will very, very naturally come down in front of you. It's a lot to think about this exercise, and I'm trying not to look at you because then I will fall over, but thinking about where your hip is, where your toes are, where you are pulling the work from. It's a lot to think about, and that's why this exercise is so good for you. I know it's tough, but you're really good at this. What part of it are you really good at? The whole thing? Oh, well, you're really good at being done with it. But that, my friends, oh my gosh, is the magic of this helpful thought today. Let's go ahead and cool this down. Here we go. Let's go ahead and do some arm circles. That is the magic of I'm really good at this. Maybe you're really good at being done. Maybe you're really good at cooling down. Maybe you're really good at making sure that you have dumbbells in your hands a couple times a week. Maybe you're really good at making sure that you exercise every day. Maybe you're really good at some small part or some big part or something that you can tell yourself, I'm really good at this. When you can say that and feel it, to me, it is one of the most helpful thoughts. I love being good at things. Like, there's not a lot that I think I'm great at, but I'm really good at this. Even this tiny part of it feels amazing. And when it feels amazing, my friends, that's when it's helpful. Gonna move you towards your weight loss goals. Let's go ahead and open this up. And close it up. Give yourself a great big hug and a pat on your sweaty back. You are really good at this, and you did such a great job today. And today we are kicking off a 5-day series. Every 4 weeks, I've got 5 new workouts for us. And oh my gosh, this week is going to be so much fun. So sweaty, so exactly perfect for you and your weight loss. So before you go, make sure that you subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.